My pockets be hard as
Yes, sir. We are back. Atlanta Carcast, season 2. What episode is this, Hulk? I can't even.
Season
6,
episode 7.
Oh, this is 7.
7? I thought it was
I'm
6.
just playing.
It's 6.
Don't nobody even know.
It's 6.
It's 6, man. I'm just playing.
Oh wow. Okay, it's 6, right? Okay.
Yes,
I don't know.
6.
How is it that you don't know? You know
Well,
everything.
I stopped numbering them, and I'm old, so I gotta have a number, to keep track.
Yeah, he's
So if
over
you're
40. You remember?
Yeah.
He's
I'm
over
old
40.
here now.
Yeah.
If
You can't
you're
get over
old head.
You call it what you want to, but one or two things you could beat me doing, youngster. Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So I go by the name of Mister. My co-hosts are
Mr. Skip of Skip's Trophies and More.
There we go.
And I'm the legendary Hulk.
And then we're missing our 4th co-host. She is actually on a plane right now. So safe travels to DJ back to the city.
That's right.
So yeah, we're gonna get to it, man. We got a really, 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 really special show. So if you didn't notice from the title, it's called How Do I Gain Buying Power? So we really wanted to, because as everybody knows here at Atlanta Carcast, we cover everything in car culture, and now including buying power when you're actually buying the vehicle that you're turning into a show car. So with that being said, we're going to bring both of our guests on, and then we're going to intro them in, and then we're going to get right to it. So first up is this gentleman, and then we got this gentleman. So y'all give it up for him. Yeah. We are in the building. Hopefully everybody can hear him. So first up, to the left of your screen is Mr. Life with Key _. And he goes by the name of Key. And this gentleman here is out of Washington State. And he's blown up on TikTok within a matter of months. Even when I jotted down my information, he was at 128,000 followers. And now he's blown up all the way to 135,000 followers on TikTok.
That's what's up.
He's a car dealer expertise. He sells cars. He knows all about finance and all that stuff. And he's young. How old are you, Keith?
21.
21 years old.
21.
Oh,
We the same age. We the same age.
And the gentleman to his right of the screen is Mr. Deshaun, the auto advisor. I got to give him a lot more. not saying that he's better than Key because both of them are fire. But this gentleman here has 1.2 million followers on TikTok. I mean, what more can I say? And it's not about how many followers you have, whether we bring you on the show or not. It's just very impressive, and we really want to salute y'all for what y'all doing, and we want to motivate y'all to keep doing it, giving the culture what they need. So let's get into it. So Deshaun has the 52 car buying questions smart people don't ask that cost them thousands, and Key needs to be writing the book as well. All right, so gentlemen, everybody, how's your week going? Anybody jump in?
I'm
What we
pretty
feeling?
good.
I had a long day today. Locked up 2 shoplifters.
Everything is great.
Everything is
That's
great.
what's up. That's what's up.
Skip, how about you?
My trophy business is
Everything is
taking
up.
off like a 747. It's moving kind of fast. Yeah, I got like 10 orders in a matter of hours, and I've been to it. I made like 120 trophies just today itself. I need them tomorrow. You can have them tomorrow for an extra fee.
Exactly.
But now, I'm doing the real quick. I want to shout out something, and I'm gonna shout it out again. I'm doing an all kids car show tomorrow. Now, what that means for everybody listening, and I will say it again, is for all of us parents and adults that have children that have any type of vehicle, be it a Hot Wheels, 4-wheeler, anything that moves, whether it's on the manpower or its own power. Bring them out. We're celebrating the kids now. We want them to get this passion that we have for these cars. Bring your cars also, but y'all won't enter with them. It's just to bring attention to the children. I will make sure that all children get some type of award tomorrow because we want them to understand why we do what we do for one of these. Why we do what we do just to get one of these. It's about the kids and showing them that you don't have to do all the dirty stuff that you see in the rap video to get somewhere.
That's right.
So yeah.
So with that being said, so I don't know where we want to start. Key, Deshaun, y'all just tap in anytime y'all want. First of all, why? And all of us are black, and we really predominantly speak for the black community. Why do black folks tend to lose when it comes to car buying? Anyway,
okay, I'm gonna pipe in.
I say simply just knowledge, the lack of, a lot of people don't go in there with the knowledge of having, this presence of I need to have good credit in order to get a good interest rate or, to get a good payment. They kind of just go in there like, hey, I want to buy a car. They don't really know anything. They don't do any research. They're just like, hey, and not to say it like that, but they're like, hey, I see this fast car. Let me go buy it. They don't go in there with the knowledge of, hey, I need to make a smart, educated buy and, build myself up to work for this. I just want it now.
Now, one thing too, I want to, before Deshaun says something, because I watched a couple of your
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you fine.
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Okay. Now, can you say something interesting then? You're 21. You're 21. So, first of all, congratulations for you having the knowledge you have at such a young age. Because when I was your age, I was that person you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now 54. So I get it now, but to have gotten it, if I could have gotten it or known anything about some of the stuff you know at your age, I'd probably own 10 car lots because that's about how many cars I've owned. But when you just said that people don't have the knowledge, when I was growing up, we didn't have the internet, number one, to learn all of that. We used to have to use encyclopedias to learn anything we want to learn. And then if it wasn't an updated encyclopedia, we were just learning old stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So with the advent of the internet, you have learned something that a lot of people WH don't know. So without us seeing somebody like you and Deshaun on the internet telling us this, and hopefully like he has 1 million, you have a couple 100,000, reaching just those people so they can pass it on. That's a beautiful thing, man. And I appreciate the fact that you're such a young cat doing it. And Deshaun, you with all your book and everything else. I love it, man. And I hope to God that y'all double and triple y'all followers so y'all can get this information out there because we need more people like y'all that look like us.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
thank you, guys. Thank you. Definitely appreciate that, Skip.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is the biggest misconception when it comes to buying a car?
I'll let you tap in on this one.
I think Deshaun a slight delay.
Yeah,
okay, go ahead.
I think when it comes to Yeah. I think when it comes to when people car shop, unfortunately, there's old information out there that people don't really tend to question. You know, you do things the way you were taught to do it. You know, we shop like our parents shop. We shop like our grandparents shop. You know, and ideas got passed down for many, many years, and you just didn't question them. You know, a huge misconception about car buying is, you know, if you buy a car and finance it, you own the car. And
Mm,
that's not true. You don't own the car until the title's in your hand. So
That's right.
there's a bunch of people who buy cars and they're short-term people, but they've been taught to buy. Meanwhile, there's a short-term product that was created many years ago for short-term people, and it's called a lease. And the
mm,
majority of the country, including some salesmen and Key will tell you, don't understand leasing and the benefits of leasing, and you know, all they do is push to their customers to buy. Meanwhile, these are the same people that are getting jammed up when they come later to trade the car in. They have negative equity because cars are not made for short-term ownership, not on a finance. So there's a lot of, you know, that's just one of the misconceptions. Key, you got, and by the way, I just want to say, like, y'all told me I was going to be on Key. I didn't know, like, me and Mister were talking, and he was like, "Listen, I got this guy Key. He's another guy that I love, and I only follow one salesman on TikTok. I had just started following Key, and I didn't know his name because I was just getting to know him. But I said,
yep.
listen, I'm following this dude that is really killing it. You know,
And we were talking about the same
I could
person.
tell his heart, and then it was the oh man, what? Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
Deshaun,
Yeah.
Deshaun, real quick. You made a statement about
With the
buying a car.
some of the misconceptions.
Hold on, Deshaun. I think you got a bad signal and a delay.
Yeah.
Hang on. Let me see if we can fix you. But I'm gonna pop you backstage and I'm gonna have you come back in. Hang on. Ask that question to Key while I do that.
What? Yeah. He still should still hear me if he's backstage. Deshaun, you said something about when people go buy cars, they have the misconception that they own them, but they don't own them until the title gets in their hand. Now, I disagree with that in the statement itself, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because when you go buy a house, it's the exact same thing. Until you get the deed, you don't own that house. But
Mm-hmm.
name somebody that's buying a house that don't say that's my house, I own that. You see what I'm saying? In theory, you're 100% correct. But if you can't apply the same principles to house buying that you can car buying, and I know the interest rates and everything is different because the loans are longer and bigger. But if I go buy a house, that's mine until I don't make a payment or whatever the case may be. You understand what I'm saying? So I feel like the same thing should apply to a car. If I go purchase this car or put the money down to get it, it's mine until I don't follow the rules that were set forth in the contract or whatever the case may be.
You better get him, Key. Get him.
What do you think about that?
I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I get it from both perspectives. I mean, I kind of feel like the same way. A lot of people feel like they own the car, but I get what you're saying too, because it's like, if I'm making this monthly payment every month, I feel like I own this car. But at the same time, as soon as something happens to this car, or as soon as, you know, I don't make a payment, someone's taking it, so you don't own it in a way. You don't.
Right.
It's not yours. I mean, I get it in the concept, but like, you know, like you said, the principle, what he said, it is. What he said is correct. You do not own the car until you have that title with your name on it.
So the same thing should apply to a house then, right?
I mean, a house, in a way, it is. I mean,
It technically is.
Yeah, I mean, technically it is.
Oh, okay.
But they always say homeowners, but they don't own the house.
There you
Right.
go.
Exactly. And I mean, that's
that was
the
the
The bank owns your house.
exactly, and that was the reason I was saying that. I understand what he's saying. He's 100% correct. But in the grand scheme of things, you can say you own a house, but you can't say you own a car. It's the exact same thing. One's just a bigger payment, a bigger loan, longer term payment. You know what I mean? So that's why I said that. But go ahead.
So he made a statement also about
I don't know.
leasing.
I don't know if y'all can hear me.
Yeah.
We can hear you.
You're much better now. Go ahead.
Because you made a
Okay,
statement
I
about
had to come
leasing
closer to my
and
router.
owning.
I guess I gotta upgrade.
You
Yeah.
know, you got
Hold on, wait a minute.
one of them
Yep.
overhead.
I'm
You got
gonna
the
get you.
overhead routers.
So I heard.
Go ahead. Go ahead. No,
Go
go.
respond to
Yeah,
Skip.
I'm
yeah.
gonna get you later. I'm gonna get you
Listen,
later. But go ahead.
I gotta get internet. But all right, so when it comes to it, here's my feelings on when it comes to leasing versus buying. You're not you're the question is, are you a long-term person or a short-term person? That's what you need to be asking yourself, when you're looking at a car. Because if you attach a long-term product, like a loan, average loan in America is 5 or 6 years, to a
Mm-hmm.
depreciating asset like a car. The loan is not going to follow the pace that the car depreciates. So if
Exactly.
you are planning to trade that car in and essentially flip the car before the loan is paid off, then you're going to put yourself in a position where you're always in a negative equity position unless
Yep.
you're putting a ton of money down, in which case you're just paying for it up front. You're not
Throwing
losing it
money
on the
away.
back end. You're putting a ton of money down so you can not. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're using a product that's made for a long-term ownership. The benefit of buying a car, quite honestly, is one day you can pay it off. Like
Right.
you cannot do that with a lease. So there are plenty of people who buy their cars, take out 5 and 6 year loans, and trade them in before the car is ever paid off. So they're never getting to a place where they don't have a payment. They always have a payment anyway. So
Right.
with a
Right.
lease, there are many more benefits. You're taking on less risk because essentially every time you buy a car, you're investing in that vehicle, and you're investing in something that's going to lose value on a daily basis. So what I've been teaching is, if that's the case, it's important you structure your loan right so that you're not losing money, because cars will absolutely lose you a lot of money, and people
Yeah.
don't really see it because they just pay attention to the monthly payment. But I put the spotlight on how much money people are losing in various ways, and that's really a big part of the mission.
I
So
keep going.
let
Go
me
ahead.
ask you, if you leasing a car, ain't it a certain amount of mileage you can get? Because that's the whole issue because I thought about leasing as well. But the problem with leasing is you only get a certain amount of miles, and then after
Per
that you
year.
have to, per year, and
Mm-hmm.
after that you have to pay for the additional miles at the end of the lease. That's a huge problem, I think.
Key, tap into that. You tap into the misconception, because it's
Well,
not true.
so
So
honestly, you can go longer on a lease. It just depends on the situation, how you structure it. I haven't really dealt with too many leases just because I've been at a used car lot for the last like 6 or 7 months. But from what I know, leases I have dealt with, it just depends on how you structure it. Plus, at the end of the day, the money you lose when you finance a vehicle and trade it in, if you pay for it on the miles, sometimes on the back end, it's not going to be as bad as you think it is.
makes sense.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
yeah.
Because I
Now,
There's the misconception is they get. Go ahead.
No, go ahead,
oh, I was
Deshaun.
gonna ask. Oh yeah, go
Okay.
ahead, Deshaun. Go
I
ahead,
would
say what you said.
let me just finish the misconception, because I know
Mhm.
I'm on a delay, but the misconception is that they pick the mileage for you. You absolutely pick your own mileage. Now, what
oh
ends up
really?
happening with people
Okay.
that are
I didn't know
payment
that.
conscious, the people that are payment conscious, they're actually they get quoted by a salesman the lowest mileage possible, because the salesman is trying to get you to take the car and stay within your budget. So he shows you a 10,000 mile a year payment, and he says, okay, it's 329. He's not going to show you the 12,000 or the 15,000, because that's 349 or 375. But at the same time, you need 15,000. You shouldn't be taking 10,000. It doesn't matter how cheap the payment is. And
Right.
so what a lot of people end up doing is, the first time they lease, they're not getting proper counsel from the salesperson to tailor the lease to their lifestyle, taking trips, going to work, well, how far do you live, how many days a week are you going to your job? They're not doing a proper needs analysis so that they can say, okay, listen, based on that, you need 15,000 miles per year, or you need 12,000. Because if you got your proper mileage, like the people who lease and they pick their mileage properly, Like, there's no
They
problems
win.
at all. Like, literally, it's the most
I
hassle-free
want to
way to
chime
own a
in on
car.
that.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead,
I want to
kid.
chime in on that. So when I got my second car that I got was actually a lease on the Optima. I worked for Kia, so I got to look at the multiple options. I got an option for a 10,000 mile, 12,000 mile, 15,000 mile. There were different payments just depending on what I wanted to do and what I could fit in my budget. You can pick what you want to do. It's just going to depend if you want to pay more to benefit more at the end of the day, and that's what people don't understand.
Right. But see now, like he said, he made the
Exactly.
statement that the salesmen aren't telling us this. And I've never attempted to lease, so this is all news to me. But without guys like y'all that do what y'all do to inform us, hey man, you have these options. The ball is completely in your court. We won't know that. See,
Right.
we think as a consumer, and I think I'm speaking for everybody. When I go to a car lot, I want that one. That's the one I want. Now tell me what I got to pay. You see what I'm saying? That's what we're used to. But with all the
Mm,
knowledge y'all got and all the things y'all
mm.
have learned, it takes people like y'all in y'all's position to say, hey man, slow down. When you go to the car lot, you know what your credit score is. So, like you said about buying power, for every $5,000, that's $100 a month. And I want you to explain that too, because I understood what you were saying, but I think more people need to hear that so they'll know going in, hey, $30,000 car, I'm looking at minimum $600 a month payment and up according to my credit.
Right.
So I said two things then, but again, I wanted to say it about y'all's platform, man. You're reaching the people you're reaching. And I think it's one of those continuous things where you got to say, hey, man, if you're thinking about this, here are the guidelines. If you're thinking about this, here are the guidelines. You guys need to take your time and use your buying power. And I think that's, like I said, I appreciate what y'all doing. And I really,
And
think that it needs to
and
be
listen, when
more.
it comes to the ownership of a car, if you are a long-term person who's keeping the car 8 years, 8+ years, and I say 8+ years because you're typically going to outlive the depreciation if you keep it 8+ years. Depreciation doesn't become a big deal. And I know that you're a big fan of customizing cars. So if you're customizing your cars, these should be cars you're buying to keep, so that you pay them off and then you do what you want to do with them, whether you're putting them in shows or not. And they're your cars long term. You're keeping them. That's a very different thing. You're a long-term person. You don't need to be thinking about a lease. But I'm talking about if you're somebody who down the road, this car is not going to be in my life in 8 years. You should not be tying up your equity in that car, because another thing you do when you tie up your equity in a car is anything happens to that car, it's your money. If a car is worth $20,000, you drive down the road, somebody smacks you, you just lost $2,000 of your real cash. That's out of your equity. So it's gone. There's nothing you can do to get that back. You have an accident, that's your money that you just lost. Doesn't matter if the insurance puts the car back together. So you're in that car. So short term, cars are not good investments. They don't return well. So that's why you lease them, because leasing takes the pressure off of you. You could have 3 accidents in a lease and it's not going to cost you a dime. Because you send it back to the leasing company after 3 years and they deal with the equity situation. They deal with the titles and what happened. So
So let's
Take them to auction.
yeah,
switch gears
yeah.
a little
Yeah,
bit.
that's really good because that's smart. That is extremely smart.
You mentioned if you go down the road and you mess it up. My question is, when is gap insurance bad? When should you not get gap insurance? Because a lot
On a
of
used car.
when you get
Go ahead,
when
kid.
you
On a used car.
So
is that always true though?
no. So I wouldn't get gap insurance if you put a lot of money down on the vehicle.
Okay.
If you're not going to be in a negative equity situation, there's no point in having gap insurance. Or if you're buying the car in cash, there's no point in having gap insurance. Those are the worst times to get it. I'm not
Oh,
even sure if you
okay.
can sell gap when you buy cash, but I mean, someone decides to try to do it, then there's no
Somebody
point
will
in
try.
buying it yeah, exactly. Somebody will try. They will try, but I mean, there's no point in buying it. In that point, gap is only useful if you are going to be underwater in your car, because they pay that difference for you. If the insurance is going to cash you out a check for $27,000, you only owe $22,000, you're going to profit $5,000 off of it, and still have your car
Right.
paid off, and now you can go get something else. So you're not going to have to worry about that gap, because there's not going to be a gap to cover.
Oh, okay.
Now does
Right.
that
If
what you
the
just said, that
if the
statement you
gap
just made?
the gap is the amount your car is worth,
Gets the
Yeah,
amount
I
you
was just
owe.
saying the gap is the amount of that the car is worth relative to what you owe. So if your car is worth
Right.
20, but your loan is 27 because maybe you financed the taxes and the fees and you bought negative equity over from your last car you had as a trade-in. So your loan's 27, but the
Get
car is
20.
only worth 20. The insurance, and remember, the car is not worth what you pay for it. So if you pay 20, the car is not worth 20. The insurance ain't paying out what retail value. So you're
Yep.
typically, 1,000, 1,500 under what you paid for it minimum. So
I can give you guys
if
an
your
example.
insurance only pays 19, yeah, go ahead, Key. Go ahead, Key.
So I my own situation personally. So I crashed my Hyundai Sonata after 2 weeks after I got it. Unfortunately, in the beginning of my career, when I was selling cars, I had some negative equity situation. So I rolled over 11,000 into my Hyundai Sonata, but I was planning on keeping it long term, so I wasn't really worried about it. But I crashed it 2 weeks after, so I owed 46 on it. My car was only worth 37.
Mm.
So I had a gap that I had to pay off. That if I didn't have gap insurance, I would have had to come out of pocket for that.
Wow.
But because I
Yeah.
didn't, Gap covered it.
So
Right. Go ahead. Go
let
ahead.
me ask you this then. For I had some negative equity in my car, but I paid an extra $200-300 every single month of the life of my loan, and I got gap insurance. And I think I paid it off. It's a 72-month loan, which is like what, 6 years, and
Yep.
I think I'm paying it off in about 4. And I got gap insurance, and I owe like 10 left right now. And if I crash that car and total it, would I get that gap insurance back?
No, you won't get.
So
Go ahead. Go ahead.
you can try. You can say what you're saying about it.
I don't think you see. People think gap insurance pays you. It doesn't.
Oh, I know it pays for the car. I know.
It pays what you owe. The rest of what you owe on based on what your insurance didn't pay. So you won't get that back. Like say for instance, if your car is worth 25,000 when you crash it, and you only owe 7, the insurance is going to pay 25,000. I'm sorry. Yeah, the insurance is going to pay that money, and then the rest of the money is yours. But if you owe 25 and the car is worth 25, you get nothing.
Right.
Insurance pays it off, and you just walk away. So no, you don't get anything back from Gap. Gap just covers everything over what you owe.
And you
So
got to realize
so-
this too. Let me tell you something that's very risky. A lot of people don't talk about. No, if let's just say you put down, let's say you bring over negative equity from your old car. So you got, let's say your loan would have been 25 and your car's worth 19, but you decide you're going to put the money down. You decide you're going to put $5,000 down. Now you drive down the road, somebody smacks you same way, the car gets totaled or it gets stolen. Insurance pays out the same 19. You lose your whole down payment. So just the same way Gap would protect the loan, it also, if you decide you're going to put a bunch of money down, you need to know that money's at risk if you covering a bunch of negative equity. If something happens to that car, you out that money. So you got to be very strategic with it.
Wow.
And what's the name of your book, Deshaun? Can you hear me?
It's called The 52 Car Buying Questions Smart People Don't Ask. And that costs them thousands. And, what I tell people about the book is I give all free information. The book, the only reason that the book was out is because we actually Key knows you can only make a certain amount of videos a day covering a certain amount of topics. So the topics you haven't gotten to yet, people might need it. You know what I mean? Like the video that that me or Key plans to make next week. We might drop 2 videos next week about 2 different subjects, but the person who is going to make a mistake, they're going to make that mistake this weekend when they go out to shop. So they're like, "Oh, I wish I would have saw this." And Key, I know you done heard this from mad people in your DMs, like, "Dad, where was you 2 years ago? I wish I would have learned this 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, or 6 months ago." So, so I put the book out just for people who's like, "Yo, I need to get everything up front," and then through time, y'all could break it down and explain it to me. But I need to make sure, because it's a lot of mistakes out here. I mean, if people shop for cars the way they shop for houses, I think we'd be better, because
It's a different ballgame.
when you
Boy,
shop
what
for
you
a house,
talking
you
about?
typically slow down. You're not getting, you're not
Man,
you're not
I
getting
took my
talked into
realtor
something. You're
through
not
it,
going
boy.
out on a weekend. Yeah,
Man, I told her, I said, listen, I want a 2-car
right.
garage. My driveway got to be flat. If I see any cracks in the ceiling, we're going to turn around and leave. And that's because of my construction background. So she was like, well, how'd you know that? I said, that means the house is selling. There could be other problems. I don't want it. Let's go to the next one. So I get it. If we did that buying a car,
Yeah.
we'd be in a lot better place. I get it. But
So
People go
so
out on a
question.
real
weekend.
quick,
People go out on a
real quick.
weekend and spend $30,000. Come home with a
Yeah.
$30,000 car.
Well, a $20,000 car that they spent $30,000 for. Yeah. But real quick,
Now, that don't happen.
Ooh,
it don't happen.
Yeah.
Nah, you can't mark up a car that much. There's not that
I
much
just
room
say,
to mark it
Oh,
up necessarily.
well, you know what I
No.
mean.
Oh,
Hypothetical.
real
Yeah,
facts.
leave Mr. Oh, he's
Keep in
21.
mind, keep in mind,
He's 21. I'm sorry. No,
keep
no,
So-
no. Listen, it's a different. It's hard to overpay that by that much. But you know what? I always tell people, negotiations is very different than deal structure. People think car shopping is about negotiating. That's why they call their uncle that buys cars, and they say, "Hey, Uncle Jim, can you come with me, please? Because I know you ain't gonna let nobody get over on me." And then Uncle Jim
they
comes,
still
and
do it.
all he do is try to talk the salesman down. But some of the worst stories I hear is from people who negotiated a great deal, but they structured the deal all wrong. They took a loan that was too long. They bought a car that was too old and put a long loan on it. They bought it when they should have leased it. So Uncle Jimmy is not going to help you structure your deal right. You know what I mean? That's where people lose 10, 15 grand and messing up their deal structure, not in negotiation.
So hold on. So what do you get out of negotiation? Like I've heard many times, like if you don't ask for it, you don't get it. Like I've purchased cars off the lot, and then I get home and I was like, oh shit, I ain't even got floor mats. Or you might
20% of
not
the battle.
get certain features. That's only 20%. You know what I'm saying? Like if you don't ask for it,
20% of the battle.
Hey,
as
look,
far as
You're
the
not
I'm
going to
like,
lose that much. You could go ahead, Keith. You can't lose that much not negotiating. You'll lose a lot more with deal structure.
I mean, the
The
worst
lightning
thing you can
struck over
do
here.
is, with not negotiating, is you're gonna pay a lot more of a Kelly Blue Book or whatever, or you might pay a little bit more for a warranty, or pay more for something that that you could ask to get cheaper that they possibly would lower. But negotiation isn't necessarily like the biggest thing. Like I've seen people get fucked over more or messed over more on APR than they did on negotiating on the price.
So let me ask the question is
Yep.
let's talk about credit when it comes to credit, because the question is what is it when it comes to good credit versus great payments, payments. Like
Yeah.
your payment
Most
payment
of the
history,
things, most of the things you
is
could get,
great.
most of
Yeah,
the
I'm
things
sorry.
you could get is you'll be no. Most of the things you could get, you'll be fine if you could get to the 620, 630. It's similar to a house. But you know how to move with it. If you come in at a 630 and God, I got bad credit, and you come in with that desperate energy, you don't know how to shop. You'd actually, they'll talk to you like you a 520. But 620, 630, and like you might even pay a higher tier on a lease, or you might pay a little bit much more on the interest rate. But you shouldn't be feeling like if I'm a 630, like I can't get a car. You know what I mean? Like, or I gotta go and take a 19% interest rate. That's for like 5, and that's in that stage. But I think a lot of people are in that fair range. And I mean, I've put people in leases that was low sixes, 620, 630, 640. So, you just got to know where you're at, and you got to know that this, I should be able to get something with this score. I shouldn't,
Right.
but if you don't know, somebody will give you 19%, 25%, and tell you that's what you deserve.
So what if you
Okay.
so what if your credit score is in the low sixes, high fives, but you have a great payment history? Your payment history is good.
Well,
Hey, Keith.
that's kind of catch 22, I think, real quick
Keith
before
get
the
that one.
answer. is
I don't
because
think that's
if you got low sixes, high fives, your payment history can't be that good.
Well,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
if your debt to income ratio is off balance, it will
It
go
won't
down.
knock your credit down. No, it won't knock it
Yes,
down
it
That's
like
the
will.
that.
truth.
I agree with
Yes, it
Skip.
will.
I agree with Skip.
But
It's
listen,
not going.
If you
it'll
utilize
knock it down. It'll knock it down, but it won't knock it
it'll
down
knock it
that
down.
low.
Well,
You have to be
I know.
Listen.
paying somebody.
I'm over
Oh, okay.
exaggerating.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
over
go ahead.
Let's
I'm
say
sorry.
exaggerating.
let,
But
Let's
I'm
go
just
if
with
you
talking
that.
about
replacing
I'm just talking about the
well,
Look,
let's
payment
look at it
history
like this.
versus the credit score.
If you got high utilization, no, I get what you're saying, Hulk. If you got high utilization, let's say you're utilizing enough of your credit where it drops your score 90%. Is that 90% and you have a car already? Because if you have a car already and you're replacing that car and you're going from a $400 payment to another $400 payment, that's
It's different.
that's easy
Yeah.
for a good finance manager to get done. But if you are
Right.
90% utilization and you're looking for a car, then you're already utilizing a lot of your credit and you're trying to add more to it, and the bank is like, there's nothing there to add. You can't add a payment. So
Right.
I watched a really good video from this guy, and he had said a black brother, and he was in a Mercedes dealership, and I like the way he broke it down. He was talking about how if you are swapping from car to car, it's easy for you to get a car. In most cases, if you pay the
Mhm.
car on time,
Right.
a good finance manager could get a deal done. But if you have not paid your car on time, or if you have recent lates or a recent repo, these things make it very tough. But even if you're in that position, you need to know how to move so that somebody doesn't rip you. Like, you don't want to get ripped no matter what. You don't want to just go in and because of any situation, just let people abuse you and put you in a bad car with a 29% interest rate, and the car's not going to last. So that's what I talk about. That's what kids talking about. Like, just no matter what your situation is, know how to move and know what questions to ask so that you don't end up in these positions that our people have been ending up in for many, many decades.
I got a story real quick, and it's a question wrapped up in it. We're in 2018. I think it was February. I bought my wife a 2017 Chrysler 300C. It had 9,000 miles. Yeah, I got it. I just traded in the new eight. And the car, I think at the time was $27,000. And I said, well, a brand new one with 0 miles or 50 or 100 miles is 32,000. So you're telling me these 9,000 miles only knock 5,000 miles off? And he was like, well, let's look at your credit. I said, no, let's not. Let's
Hello.
talk about why this price is this way. So
Slow
my
down.
wife was like, it's not a bad price, not a bad price. I was like, yeah, but let him answer. So then he said, well, it all depends on your credit. I said, no, it don't. I said, no, it doesn't. I said, now, and I'm nowhere like you guys, but this is what I did. I said,
It's
listen,
common sense.
my credit is high sixes. I think at that time it was like 695 or something like that. And I want this car, but I will not pay more than $24,000 for it. Well, let's look at another car. I said, well, we can go to another lot and look at another car.
Mm.
We left out of there paying
Mm-hmm.
$21,000 for that car. Now, that was a blessing because
60, it's 60,
you
yeah,
Keith made
yeah.
the statement
With a
that they
690
can't mark
score,
them up that high.
Skip, you could get almost anything.
Right. And see, that's the
No, but
thing. Once he
that's
ran my
it's
credit,
a different way of doing business.
right.
Different
But
way of doing
the thing,
business. Here's what it is. It's different way of doing businesses. This is why I teach people you gotta shop on the internet, because some of our biggest deals when we were in the dealership is if a person was not gonna compare pricing on the internet. Here's what used to happen. Dealers would put prices on their car Saturday morning, and people would come past, drive through. Oh, let's go look for a car, honey, and they just pull into their local dealer and they look at the windows. They mark the cars up because they were prepared to negotiate with you. So they'd mark the
Yep.
cars up 7-8 grand. Before the internet, like, they were prepared to negotiate 10 grand. Some of them, they just took shots. There was no way for the people to verify it. Now you can verify it. You can actually go online, you can use certain websites, and you can see every car that's just like the car you're looking at in 5-10 minutes. So if
Can.
you just go on the
I've
lot
done it.
and look at the price and say, okay, 28,000, let's negotiate. How do you know there's not 14 cars out there within a 50-mile radius that's 24, 23? So you gotta, if that dealer doesn't have that car on the internet, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in cars
Mm.
that they just trying to, kind of sell as
It's not
pocket
competitive.
listings, so to speak.
And
Yeah,
Right.
we're not interested in that because we got to be able to compare pricing, and you can do that right from home.
also one
Right.
thing about that is that when you go and you send these deals to the bank, there's certain way that there has to be structured and there's certain values on the car. So let's say that you're a 500 Beacon, he can't mark that car up so much because they're gonna have to be they're gonna have to be relatively closely to book to be able to sell you that vehicle. So he might have marked it up that much, but once you actually take it back, the car is going to come down because they can't even overprice it that much unless you have a big down payment. And like he said, once again, it's because people don't go in and they don't shop online. If you come into my lot and I got a price on my thing, and you didn't come in, you didn't do no research online, you didn't do anything like that, you just come in and I say, hey, this is the price, you have nothing else to go off of, you're gonna believe me because I'm telling you this. Now if you want to negotiate, it's like, okay, cool, I know I got $9,000 to negotiate with. If you want to get $5,000 down, I'm still getting a 4-pay at that point, and everybody's still happy. You felt like you won, but in the end of the day, I really won. So it's like now with the age of the internet, car gurus, auto trader, all these things, now it's just a matter of pulling your phone out, comparing. If my car is 27 and all the rest of the cars are 23, you're clearly going to know something's off and you're going to leave.
Right.
Yep.
And that's one of the things that the dealers, I mean the salesmen don't want is you to leave, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So
They don't want you to shop either.
So let me ask you. So all that extra fluff, and let's call it fluff, does it go to the dealership or is it going to the actual salesman? Because when you're trying to negotiate the price down, is the salesman trying to keep as much money for themselves or for the dealership,
Because
I mean,
it's a percentage.
or is it both?
we get a
percentage.
percentage. Yeah, we get a percentage. And at the end of the day, the dealership's gonna make the most money, from backing all that
Of
stuff.
course.
So we're trying to protect our front end growth at the end of the day on something like that.
Mhm.
That would be the
Salesmen, they
situation.
get 15 to 25% of the deal, depending on how their compensation is structured.
Okay.
Wow. All right, let me switch
So-
gears. So I've always heard I went and I got a car and they wouldn't have sold it to me if I couldn't afford it. Is that true?
Absolutely not. They don't care what you can afford.
They don't care what you afford.
If the finance guy said
They
you can
know
get
they
it,
can't afford it.
if
Look,
the
this is
finance
what
guy
they
said
tell
you can
us.
get it, then you got it.
Yeah, this is what they tell us. It's not your pockets. At the end of the day,
That's right.
that's what my managers tell me. When you're bringing out the pencil like that, it is not your pockets. I'm not that type of guy. I feel bad doing it, but at the end of the day, you have to get your money. But it's like, if you're telling me
Yeah.
you can afford it, who am I to tell you no? Who am I not to get paid?
That's right. And you get once
at the
people
end
wrap
of the
their
day,
mind around what they want, Key, and you people who come in and they wrap their minds around what they want, and you cannot talk them out of it. They'll go get it from somebody else. So you
they
say,
will.
Why not get
but
it?
the people who are smart at that point, the people who are smart are going to really make moves before they come. Anybody who comes out and they locked in their mind, I got to get the car today. First of all, in negotiations, the worst position to be in if you're in a negotiation is you have to make a deal. You can't walk away. That's the ultimate. You've given up all your leverage. All you could do is bluff, and at some point the bluff may work. But if I gotta buy this car today, no matter where this ends up, you are in a position of weakness, and and the car business is we are trained to we are trained in negotiations and in creating urgency and in asking you questions that are going to and an experience that's going to get and it's going to get you to pay more. Your max, like literally, like your wife might said 350 is the max, but before if that car is 460 and y'all done fell in love with it already, and y'all not disciplined to say, nah, 350 is our budget, we gonna get it.
Gotcha.
We're taught
Okay.
to ask you a question about how much you want to pay. If you tell me you want to pay $300 a month, I'm gonna ask you up to. I'm gonna get your mind thinking. What up to? Okay, well, now, well, what am I looking? What can I pay? Oh, well, up to like 400, 425. At that point, now I know you automatically are gonna pay more than that on the vehicle because you didn't already went up for what you originally told me, and all I had to do was ask you one question at that point. So I mean, and as a salesman, that's what we're trained to do, and that's how we make money at the end of the day. And we're gonna ask you those questions. We want you to be able to buy. If you come in telling me you want to pay $200 on a car that I know it's not 200, I'm automatically gonna try to get your mind thinking on something else. And if you love the vehicle, we're taught to build value. So if you're going in the car and you want to buy a vehicle, we're gonna build that value in the vehicle, and you're gonna come home with something. And like you said, that's the worst thing to tell.
And so the only thing you can do is not get emotional, shop from home, learn how to use you, because once you're in, here's the big problem. People confuse shopping with buying. They mix them. You shouldn't mix them. Shopping is the fun part. Shopping is, I'm going to look at cars. I'm going to look at colors. I'm going to see, do my kids fit in the back seat? I'm going to test drive some cars. I'm comparing. We're narrowing it down to what we actually want. There's no pressure in shopping because salesman says, "Hey, what can I help you with?" We just looking around. We got a couple places we're looking at. We're not interested in buying. We're going to try to get you interested in buying. But what if there's some phenomenal offers right now, but I'm not mixing shopping and buying, honey. We are here to shop only. We don't even know if we want this car yet. I don't want to talk numbers. And now you're shopping, you're having fun, you're browsing, you're test driving, you're looking at colors. Then you go home. After you shop at all the dealerships, decide, okay, these are the ones we really like. Then you shop from home and you buy from home because now you're in control. The minute you go back into that dealership, you are in you're in my house.
In the lion's
you come in the
den.
dealership, you come in the key, you in our house. So you are highly emotional. We got beautiful toys all around you, and you
can leave with it
it's
today.
hard for you to stay, disciplined.
Let me say this. So the gist of what you're saying is it's best to shop from home for a car.
100%. 100%.
The only time you should be stepping foot in the dealership, I feel like, is to test drive the vehicle and to make sure that's the one that you truly want. After you kind of narrowed it down for what these might be the select few types of cars that I like. These are the ones that kind of fit the price range that I'm looking, on all of them. This is the miles I want. This is the price range, all this stuff. It's like, all right, I put it all together. Now, these are the few ones I want to go. Let me go test drive and make sure everything mechanically sounds good on them. And, at that point, then go back home, and then that's when you buy.
Wow. You feel
There's
like
a strategy that I use for shopping for used cars. It's called the 8 marketplace strategy. There are 8 marketplaces that you can use to shop from home. 20 minutes. It takes 20 minutes for you to see the whole market. So I told you, like, anybody who's watching, you should be taking notes. You know what I mean? Unless you're gonna watch the replay, of course. But
I'm taking notes now.
Whenever you shopping for a used car, you should definitely shop every single marketplace where used cars are and where people are competing online to sell you used cars. There's 8 ones so far that I tell you to use. It's Auto Trader, Car Gurus. Key mentioned those. Vroom, which is an independent used car online site. They buy cars, they resell them. They have their own inventory. Vroom.com, Driveway.com does the same thing. Carvana.com, CarMax if there's one near you, eBay Motors, and Carfax.
eBay Motors.
That's every
eBay.
Yeah.
They came up.
There's between that you'll see the whole market. You'll see the
add a
entire
few of them.
market.
You can also do Facebook. You can do
every
Facebook
car in the
Market.
country.
Facebook Market, and also cars.com.
You can do Facebook Market. There's a lot of private. If you could get your own financing, and cars.com is another one for sure.
So I mean on Facebook Market,
Marketplace
I
has a
see
lot
people
of
promote on there. Dealerships promote on Facebook Market.
Yeah.
Wow.
I tend to stay away from that Facebook because you get some jack legs on Facebook.
That works for
I want $50,000.
All right, so let's take a look at DD's question.
So yes.
So even if just on quick question, think about trading up my Jeep. Which autos trend, autos tend, I can't read a small screen, tend to hold value well, or is that a thing?
So I mean, as far as like trading up your Jeep, there are certain vehicles that hold value better than others. So I mean, you go get you a new S-Class Mercedes, you're gonna lose, thousands in depreciation in the first couple of years. But if you go get you a Jeep Wrangler, you're not gonna lose that much. You go get a 4Runner, you're not gonna lose that much.
Oh, Toyota 4Runner, for real?
Yes, sir. But you got to get a 4-wheel drive one. The rear-wheel drive one, no one wants those.
Really?
Somebody else told me that Jeeps hold their value better than cars.
They do, and I mean, I'm not even a Jeep guy like
they're
that.
Durable.
But
they're durable because of durability. I mean, you don't hear a lot of Jeeps, see a lot of Jeeps breaking down like you see all of the Range Rovers and Land Rovers.
I wouldn't say that's necessarily true because I've seen a lot of Jeeps have electrical problems, but I wouldn't say the newer Jeeps do. I stay away from like 2011 and back, like people that are going to use Jeeps. I stay away from those ones. Like the newer ones, yeah, I say those are solid.
Because I'm thinking about getting a truck, but shoot, now you're making me think about getting a Jeep.
Oh, wait, no. Trucks, they hold their value too. I mean, as far as like cars, that's what I was speaking of. But I mean, trucks hold their value extremely low, especially if you get like a diesel.
Yeah, that's why diesels cost so damn much.
Y'all are gonna listen today officially. Y'all are gonna make me upgrade my whole internet connection.
Oh my God!
Wait a minute, hold on. You ain't got no business with that Jeep internet. No, you running around here with that $19.99 McDonald's?
I got the highest one. Y'all, I swear, I'm on dial-up.
Is it fiber optics? Is it fiber optics?
Yo, it's like I'm on. Remember the
Do you
AOL?
have?
I feel like that's where I'm at.
I thought you was on dial-up.
Do you have fiber optics?
Ridiculous says that.
Yes.
One of my VIP fans.
Of course, I got fiber optics.
Okay, I do too. And lightning just struck and knocked mine out this minute ago.
Verizon.
Oh, both of y'all got AOL addresses.
No, I bet you ain't got no AOL. I got AT&T with mine.
I got AT&T. My
still
spouse.
the original disc y'all put in the drive back in the day.
Right.
You got
so
500.
If I could chime in on the Jeep question.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the young lady was asking about the Jeep and when well, here's what I would ask you. Depending on how you're going to replace, you're trading in a car, which means at some point, if you're a long-term owner, then yes, buy another car, pay it off, and keep it. But if you're trading in a car that you recently got in the last 3, 4, 5, 6 years, then you are most likely. Let me give you a scenario, and I'm just gonna make this real quick because I like to talk numbers. If let's just person buys a Jeep, $40,000 car, and they decide they're gonna buy it. Now that car, every $5,000 is about $100 a month. It's about an $800 payment. Now I could go and I could lease that same Jeep for about $450. Right now, you're paying $800. I'm paying $450. We got the exact same vehicle. Now, 3 years down the road, here's what happens. Your Jeep now runs out of warranty. I'm still paying $450. My lease is up. I'm going to get my second Jeep. You're still paying $800. Now, I'm getting my second Jeep at $450. I got a 2024 now. You still got a 2021. You're paying $800. I got a 2024. I'm paying $450. Now, you keep that car for 5 years. You pay it off, and then you decide, all right, the car's paid off. I'm gonna go trade it now. Now, you just paid $800 for 5 years straight. I had an extra from $450 to $800. I had an extra
$350.
What, $350 a month? $350 a month that I could do what I want to do with. I could invest that money. So if I'm getting an extra $350 a month, we talking about roughly about $4,000 a year that I'm up over you, and I got the same exact car as you for the first 3 years, and then I got a better car than you for the next 3 years. You still paying a high payment. I got this extra cash flow, more disposable income that I could do what I want to do with. Now, here's what you hope. You hope at the end of the year, at the end of the payment, you're going to trade it in and get some of that money back that you paid. But here's the real deal. You paid $41 for the Jeep. How much is it worth after 5 years? Let's just throw some numbers out there. How much is that Jeep worth after 5 years?
Maybe 6.
All right, let's be conservative. Let's be conservative.
23.
5-year-old
2,300.
5-year-old Jeep.
23,000.
No.
All right, so that's
excellent, in my
generous.
opinion.
If a
I was just going to say that's
5-year-old Jeep,
excellent.
I say something. Let's say 17 to 20, but even if it is 23, let's just take all these scenarios, right? Let's say and you could research the values of a 5-year-old Jeep to really see where they're at. But
Right.
if you now let a 5-year-old Jeep right now, and that's not in this market too, because this market is crazy.
Okay.
Key's right about it being worth 23 in this market because prices are up right now 7 to 10 grand because we're in a bubble. It's limited inventory. So yes, a 5-year-old Jeep right now is worth definitely probably 5 grand more, 7 grand more, 10 grand more than what it would be worth in a normal market. But in a normal market, you're looking at probably 17. So now you got 17 on the back end. Now you got 17. You pay $800 a month for 5 years. You got 17. Do the math of how much I saved. I remember $350 a month for 5 years. What's 350 times 5? 350 times 350 times 60. 60 months. You're talking about probably look. So who's up? I drove a better car than you. I saved more money than you in my payment every single month. I got my money up front. You paid all of that, and you're hoping you're going to get 17. What happened if you have an accident? Maybe you're not getting 17. Maybe you get 15. So you tying up all that equity, and you're a short-term person. You're losing money compared to a person that's leasing that same car.
Great.
Right now that you guys are promoting leasing over buying short term, which is what a lot of us do, is it harder to lease than to go buy?
Good question.
I mean, for
You understand what I'm saying? You
average,
understand what I'm saying?
I mean, is it harder? Like as far as getting approved, is it harder?
Yeah, getting
Yes.
approved.
Yes.
So I mean, I would say the only reason why I would say yes for me is because in my general area, what I deal with is more subprime. So in that case, yeah, it's going to be harder for a subprime customer to get a lease than it is for them to get financed. But I mean, if you're in an area that's flourishing, the credit, the demographic is different. I would say it just depends on what the customer wants at that
Does
point.
credit score play a big role in that?
I feel like credit does play. I mean, there's some places that you have to have at least a 640.
Yeah, for sure. But if you come in, let's say, here's what I tell people: don't change your deal structure because you couldn't get approved the first time. So what some people do, if they can't get approved for a lease, now their whole mind goes to buy, and they just stick with buying. And now but they don't realize I'm a short-term person. What I recommend is you get a starter car. So something to build credit. You can't do this if you're trying to floss and stunt, because you're gonna be like, oh, I couldn't get approved for my lease. Let me just go get that $24,000 Dodge Charger or that $30,000 SRT. They're gonna slap me with the 24%, but at least I got what I want. And no, you're no closer to getting the lease now, because more than likely you're gonna have trouble paying that because the payments are gonna be sky high. And then when you go to trade it, you're in a negative equity position. And when here's what's bad about going from a finance with negative equity to another finance. You are now taking the negative equity, which means, all right, my car, I got 6 grand upside down. I'm going to now trade it, put it in another car, structure that deal the same way. And the interest I'm paying on the new car is interest I'm going to pay, obviously. But then I pay interest on the 6 grand I brought over.
Right.
So you're actually paying double interest on the car you're buying and the negative equity that you're bringing from your last car. So what I tell people is get a car, get something light, sacrifice something you could get a loan on. Something 10,000, 8,000, 11,000, 12,000, something light, to where even if they hit you with a 20% interest rate, you're not going to be buried because the loan is small. Then you could turn around in 18 months, make on-time payments, get yourself up to a 640, do what you got to do to get to a 640. Anybody could get to a 640 if they really, really working. That's why it's there, that's why it's like there to buy a house. Like a lot of people did, we snapped in 18 months, we got ourselves to 640 so we could buy a house. You could do the same thing for a car. Get yourself a small car, pay a little bit more interest, and then get out of that car in 18 months and transfer it to a lease. and you off to the races. But in the beginning, yeah, like he said, you might have trouble qualifying if you don't have a car in the past, or if you have if you're in the fives. But but don't let that change your long-term plan of where you want to be at.
So it sound like you're saying do some self-evaluation first before you start trying to buy a car or lease a car, because you need to know what your options are and what you want to do long term.
Well, yeah,
It's always
the
a long-term approach.
self-evaluation, we should do that anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Before
regardless.
going to spend money on buying something,
We
making a
don't do
big
that.
purchase.
Exactly.
Yeah, we don't do that.
You right,
We
but
don't do that.
Right.
see,
You're right. No, we don't.
I'm the complete opposite because I like old cars. I want something I can fix on. I ain't trying. My wife, I'm gonna keep in the best. She need to have the protection around her, but mine, I got a 97 in the driveway. I got a 98 and a 78 in Florida at home, just sitting there, rusted. But they run, you know what I mean? So I'm
You
old
what
school
we call a
with that.
keeper.
Yeah,
You're a
yeah.
keeper.
But yeah,
I'm a keeper.
the thing about the
We
leasing,
got
back to the
keepers and
leasing
leases,
thing,
and then we got people that's stuck in between.
yeah, because I want to. My goal in the next 18 months is to have a Tesla. The lease, back to the lease thing. If you have, in my case, my credit score is a little over 700 now, so it probably wouldn't be hard for me to get a lease, or do they look at have I
No,
had a
you
lease
get anything.
before? So with that kind of credit score, I wouldn't have a problem leasing.
No,
Is what you guys are saying?
no,
He
you
said,
got
Because
car
I've
credit.
never looked
You got
into it.
car
I've
credit,
never
you'll be
looked
fine.
into it. Yeah, I never looked into it. So I'm asking because I'm quite sure there's people out here that's on the 640, 630, 620 range that are thinking now about leasing because you guys make it sound so appealing. In the grand scheme of things, it's the best way to go. But like
For the
Keith
short-term person.
said, if you're in a
for short
subprime
term.
area, they don't talk about that. They try to steer you away from it. So what should somebody do that's looking to get the great payments with a lease, or what's some of the things they need to start doing in order to get to that point?
Do the research.
So
It's
this
as
is a big
simple as
thing.
going
This is a
online.
big thing. Go ahead. Yep.
So I mean, I
Yep.
would say it's just as simple as going online and doing your research. The lack of knowledge is what's going to stop you from being able to understand those lease deals. If you understand that, they're offering leases, when you go in there, if the salesman doesn't say nothing to you, you say something to him. You bring it to his attention, so therefore he can't,
And
deny it. He can't not say anything about it at that point. But when you go in there blind, not understanding that they have these leasing programs, then of course you're not going to ask no questions. And if your salesman doesn't present it to you, then you never knew.
right. And most people are
and
under
when
the
you look
impression
at
that leasing is more for business. This is my business company car, or I have a fleet of cars. Nobody really thinks of leasing as a personal thing.
no, yeah, definitely. When you look at leasing, it's personal. It's for a short-term person. That's who it's for. If you got long-term products. They created the 30-year mortgage because people needed 30 years to pay off their houses. Like they
Right.
created the 5 or 6 year loan for people who needed 5 or 6 years to pay off their car. And because they wanted to keep it. The average lease is 3 years. Don't let people talk you into a 4-year lease, especially if you have no negative equity. Like makes
You
no
buying the
sense. 3
car.
years, so it's exactly. You are buying, you a little bit more. You could have bought the thing. So 3-year lease, you switching it every 3 years. You're always under warranty in most cases. You pick your mileage, determine your mileage. When you're looking at picking your mileage, you make a call on how far you drive to work. My wife drives 10 minutes to work. She gets 10,000 mile a year lease. We take a couple trips a year. I drive. When I was driving to work and I was driving a little further, we had 12,000 miles a year. Because you're going to do most of your mileage for work. So if that's what you calculate first, just calculate what is it? How many miles to work? 12. All right, 24 each way. Let's call that 25 round trip. 5 days a week. I'm doing 125 miles a week. 52.
So what's the
weeks in a
shortest
year.
lease you can
That's
get?
5,000, 6,000. Shortest lease is 3 years. I mean, you can get a 24 month lease, but you don't want to do that. They don't make sense. Mileage wise, you're talking about a 10,000 mile a year lease with most manufacturers. Some of the lifestyle brands have low mileage leases, 7,500. Because they know these are second cars for people. Some of these people, but typically it's 10,000 miles a year, and then it's 12. There's intervals: 10,000, 12,000, 15,000, and then everything above 15,000, you're buying it. It's plenty people, salesmen. They live on the road. They get 20,000 miles a year leases. I've helped people. I just helped a guy go from a BMW that he's been buying. This guy put 23 grand down on his BMW coupe, $61,000 car, and in this market, he traded it in, had 80,000 miles on it. He kept it for a little over 3 years. He drives a ton of miles. And I'm like, listen, Darren, you are losing a lot more money than you can even understand by buying this car. And he said, all right. I said, let me just show you the next car. He wanted an Audi S5. I said, let me show you, let's run a lease on it, 25,000 mile a year lease. Now, the money that he's going to pay for the S5 over 3 years on the lease is less than he paid for the $61,000 car, and the S5 is 71. So he's paying less over 3 years. So I can't drive, I can't lease because I drive a lot. It's bad information that we've just accepted.
And because that's my biggest thought is the mileage. And when you said 25,000 miles a year, that sounds doable for me.
That's a lot of driving, though. 25,000 miles a year. You probably ain't parking.
That means you live on the road.
Yeah.
All right, let me ask y'all this. Let me switch gears. So let's go back to this. Could be either buying or leasing. Do you gain more buying power by switching with different brands opposed to other brands? Because there's a lot of people that just don't even think that Mercedes is even in their ballpark, but they don't realize there's a good, better, best, and everything. So do I have more leverage to go to Dodge versus GMC and blah 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 blah? Because when I get on the road, it's like 1,000 Chargers to 200 Camaros. Or is it just me?
Yeah.
No,
So
it's not.
do they have more buying power buying Mopar than Chevy or
It's just a popular car. I think the Dodge is just a popular car.
I've heard Chrysler. Honestly, in my opinion, I haven't worked there, but I've heard Chrysler is a little generous with their acceptance in their race when it comes to the Chrysler Capital. But
You heard it.
I've heard.
Say that again.
Hold on, say it again.
So I've heard, just from people that I've worked with, people that have worked at Dodge stores, that Chrysler Capital is a little bit more lenient when it comes to giving out loans on their vehicles. But I mean, I can't say it's 100% true because I've never worked there.
But
They give great. They give great interest rates because on my second charge I had 0, and I have a 392 Scat now, and I have 1%.
Right?
Chrysler. I'm financed through Chrysler.
Oh, okay.
Chrysler is who does the financing for them.
Yep.
Okay.
And I got 1% on this one.
But if you flood the market with a Toyota, people are going to be like, everybody's getting a Toyota. Let me go. Of course, they're going to give you the best finance rate to keep flooding the market. Because, like you said, the object is to get them out there so more people will want it. Correct?
Yeah, typically.
Everybody, I mean, Charger. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where y'all live at, do y'all find that y'all see a ton of Chargers, and what cars do y'all see? What car does y'all see the most in Washington?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where y'all at?
Absolutely.
I mean, I see a lot of Chargers.
Chargers.
I see a lot of Mopar.
It's the muscle car.
I'm in Jersey. I
see all types of them. I mean, Jeeps, all of them.
It's the in muscle car, man. It's the it muscle car. Remember one time it was Impalas. Remember it was Impalas? Everybody in their mama had an Impala. It's just the it car right now. That's all. I mean, what's the next one?
I remember when it was Dodge Intrepids, because I remember seeing a ton of Dodge Intrepids.
Man, whatever.
Dodge Intrepids.
I had a Dodge Intrepid. It was everywhere, and I was in Chicago. I was like, God,
2008. If you ain't have and it was gold. It was a million gold ones.
And maroon was too. And maroon.
All right, hold on. I got to know.
But
hold on, Deshaun.
There's nothing wrong with it. Yep.
Key, real quick. You did a video one time, and you were saying you were like role playing, and you said something along the lines of, and it was somebody talking about their credit, and then they told the dealer to run the credit, and then they were trying to figure out what they could get into. You know the video I'm talking about?
I mean, I made so many similar to that, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And then he was like, the
He
people
be
go
killing
wrong
those
by
role playing
telling them.
videos, man.
Yeah, it was like he's like, how did you learn that? Because I know life with key, but it was one along the lines where they ran the credit and then they allowed the dealer to tell them what they can get when they should have known what they can get based on their credit. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh,
Can
this
you
is a
How,
big
how
one.
would you know
explain
that
that
though?
video?
How
How
would
that
you know what
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
get?
How would you know?
What you can get based on your credit? How does that work?
explain
I
what they should have
mean,
done.
what they should have done is that, let's say, for example, I know I'm a 700 beacon. At a
Mhm.
700 beacon, if you're within your guidelines of what you truly can afford and you do your research, most of the cars you go after, you can get financed on it. If you have a knowledge of where your score sits, you should know kind of what rates you should get if you have the knowledge on it. And not everybody has that knowledge, and not everybody goes to their bank to get pre-approved ahead of time, which that comes into play is
There
going to
you
get
go.
pre-approved through your bank. Having a guideline or a base is a nice thing, because at least hey, if they're trying to give me 22% and my bank approved me for 9, something's not right.
Right.
And a lot of people don't have that because they don't go get
Definitely.
pre-approved. They just go straight to the
Definitely.
dealership saying, hey, what can you get me into? Which, I mean, I've seen it backfire
Definitely.
on some people where they go get a pre-approval. Like, I had a customer, he went to TAPCO. They gave him only 14% and only gave him like $10,000 they would approve him for. We got him approved better with somebody else that was like 10% and gave him 15,000, which it did help him out. But at least he had that approval to kind of have a basis to know, hey, at least I'm getting this, and if you can't
If
match
you
this,
don't have
then
nothing,
cool.
yeah, you don't have anything, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. You do
So
not want the
so
dealer to be your first offer, especially if you don't have perfect credit. You want to come in lined up with, and we come from a day and age where the dealer did all three things. You had to buy your car from them, they had to buy your trade-in from you, and you had to
Mm-hmm.
get your financing from them. It was a
Through them.
three-part play, and they did all three. The new world, the present world, it's breaking apart. It's segmenting because so many companies are rising up just saying, look, we only want to do financing for you. We don't care where you get the car from. These other companies like, we only want to buy your car. We don't care if you buy a car from us. We don't care if you finance with us, but sell your car to us. And so the person who you get your car from, the dealership that has the car you want, does not need to be the dealership that gives you the loan. And it doesn't need to be who you trade your car into. You sell to the highest bidder. And in the case of getting financing, like he said, you get pre-approved before you ever go shopping. You get pre-approved. It's people who pre-approve you online. If not, go in your bank, go to a credit union, get an offer before you go into the dealership. You don't want the dealership to be your first offer on anything.
yeah, you just answered my question. You just answered my question because
Wow.
I was about to say, if I go, like for instance, my credit score is my credit score is 726.
It keeps going higher and higher throughout this whole episode.
I said it
Yeah,
was over.
it
No,
sure
no,
did. I
no,
thought that
no,
I
too.
said I
no,
saw
no,
him at
Who you trying to
709.
pray?
no,
He was at
no, no.
690 when Skip. He
Nigga
was
gonna go
at
have 800 in
690
about
when
10
he
minutes.
bought the car.
Hey, there's 3
What I
zeros.
said that was in
10 minutes later, he was
2017.
709.
That was in 2017. Hey man, don't try to tell me, man. I'm one of the best jokers
Okay.
in the world. All right, you over there with that AOL dial-up running, man. You better leave me alone now. Okay, but anyway, in 2018, my credit score was 690. Don't get mad at me because y'all can't go buy a lollipop. Anyway,
I got 740.
No, you on
hypo-
point. You on point.
hypothetical,
I thought I was the
Listen,
only one
role
that
playing
had it.
like.
It jumped about 20 points. But okay.
Anyway, I can show you. I bet you I can pull up Credit Karma and show you.
Oh,
I
don't
ain't
say
gonna
that.
show you.
Say that.
But anyway,
Credit
what I'm
Karma.
saying is this: role playing, like you said with Keith. If I want to lease a car, would it still be best to go in with financing on a lease also?
I don't understand that question.
So,
No,
so
like
Okay,
if I
for
go
I
in with
have to lease.
the financing
pre-approval,
thing is different.
like
You
You have
only
to.
get
So you have to
But
lease through the
you got to use the
manufacturer.
lease. You got to use the dealership's lease.
Yeah.
okay, that was
Yeah.
my question. Thank you,
Okay.
Mister. Let me answer my question. I don't need your help.
So
Anyway, I'm
it's
just
important that you cross shop.
really.
You say
Oh.
It's
cross
important
shop?
that
Say
you
it again.
cross shop because there's so many ways. There's so many ways to hide money in a lease. So with a finance, it's straightforward. You're gonna see, hey, what's my price? 17,000. Okay, everybody make a note. There's only 3 real fees, and you shouldn't be paying. You shouldn't be paying prep fees and and marketing
Delivery
fees
fees.
and internet fees, delivery fees. You pay tax, you
Advertising
pay your
fees.
DMV, and and there's a line item on the purchase order that says doc fee. Listen, here's what it is. It's going to be on the purchase order. No one's going to cross it out. If you want to negotiate, you can say, all right, listen, if the doc fee is $500, you can say, oh, I need you to take another $500 off because I need you to cover the doc fee. They can't cross it out because it's a legal contract, it's a purchase order, so they're not going to cross out the doc fee. I don't know if you've seen different. Keith might have seen different, but you
Yeah, he
shouldn't be
said nope.
paying.
Nah, you gotta take it off the top.
If you're negotiating, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, it'll come off the top, but the point is those are 3 fees that are legitimate that, but all this other garbage fees you got to get rid of. But that's a purchase. It's easy. You could see the order. With a lease, it's very different. You could hide all types of money in a lease. I could tell you that we're making a deal at 28 grand, but I'm hiding money in the money factor, which is the interest rate. Or I'm hiding money in the back screen. So the contract will say 28 grand. You look at the contract, it'll say 28, but it's money hidden in various places. So with a lease, you gotta shop if you want a good deal. If you want to make sure you're not paying over list price, or you want to make sure it's real, you gotta call multiple dealers. You have to, and I teach a strategy called the 10 to 5 strategy. In this market, you got to do it. You're reaching out to 10 dealers online. You go to TrueCar.com. TrueCar is going to connect you with a couple local dealers, and then you go to the rest on their website. Let's say you're looking for a Chevy. Go to Chevy. You put in, you type in Chevy dealers near me. It's going to ask for your zip code, and it's going to give you a whole list, starting with the one that's the closest to you. Now you go to their website, go to their chat, because here's the thing: it's 2 departments in the dealership, and it's the sales floor and it's the internet department. The internet department, they comfortable making deals by phone. They comfortable making deals online. They comfortable when you say, listen, because here's what you got to realize: there's someone who calls for Mr. Gordon who works on Wall Street, and you never go and you talk to his assistant. His assistant's not coming in, so give her prices, give him prices, so that they can make the deal with Mr. Jordan. But so this department is comfortable making deals by phone. You get a salesperson who's on the floor. They're the people who, when you pull up to the dealer, they're opening your car door. Hey, good afternoon. How's it going? Well, welcome. How can we help you? Like that's sales floor. They're trying to make all the money they possibly can. They like we got to make up. If you want to sell floor, you got to make up for all the money the internet department's losing. So like you want to get to the internet department. In order to do that, you go to those websites, you chat with them, and you say, okay, hey, I'm interested in this car. I'm just reaching out. I'm getting a couple quotes from a couple local dealers, and you do that with 10 dealers, and you will get quotes. And you tell them, I'm getting multiple quotes. Don't mention more than 3, because if somebody tell us that, yo, I'm shopping 10 dealers, I'm not even gonna give you a quote. I'm not interested. You shopping 10 dealers, so don't tell them that. But you want to tell them I'm getting a couple quotes just to make sure I'm not overpaying, and you shop online. Get them to give you quotes online, and you'll never overpay. You never overpay if you're getting multiple offers.
So they can give you a quote for a lease without running your credit to see if you're approved.
Definitely.
Did not know that either.
That is not a requirement. Don't let anyone tell you it is. Every now and then somebody's going to try to pull it. Oh, I need to see you. Just say, oh, well, the other dealers that I reached out to, they didn't say that. So
never mind. I'll move on. Gotcha.
Wow.
Very informative.
So back to this book. How can they get the book?
Make sure you follow both of us, man. We don't play around.
That's already done.
But,
I got disconnected when I asked you about where I could buy your book from. Where'd you say it was at now? I can get it from?
Okay, if you go to americasautoadvisor.com, America's Auto Advisor, no S at the end. Americas with an S at the end, autoadvisor.com. And that's my main. Take you to, you'll be able to see, whether you're on Instagram, whether you're on TikTok, or whether you want to get the book, you want to read the review, all of that is right on there. So americasautoadvisor.com. And and look, here's the thing. There's a lot of people in the space right now that are helping the culture. I love it. I love to see us helping us. I love to see us helping the world. You know, my thing is, you know, we're trying to reach 120 million people. There's 120 million households that have cars, that need cars, that don't know what we talked about tonight. So I didn't want to price the book for the money I'm helping you save, because anyone who gets the book is gonna be like, yo, within 5 minutes of reading it, they're gonna be like, okay, I already just picked up something that's gonna save me $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. So I could say, well, I'm saving you 10 grand or 90 grand over your lifetime. Let me price it at 200. But no, we're not gonna sell it. We're not gonna help 120 million people that way. It's a $19.99 book. I wanted to price it just like any other book and just over deliver on the value. So you don't have to worry about, oh, it's unaffordable. This got to be affordable for the masses.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to order it because I'm quite interested.
I'm ordering it right now.
He doing it right now.
I'm serious.
Well, at least
I'm
I'll wait
ordering
till
it right
after
now.
the
Appreciate it, yeah.
podcast. At least I'll wait till after work.
No, but I'm serious.
Job.
I'm really serious about this
Appreciate it.
this thing. Y'all think it's a game? I'm dead serious. Get my credit card out. I ain't playing. When they get this,
Well, when you got an 800 credit
listen,
score,
I say
you ain't
shout
got to
out
go
to Key,
with
man,
that.
because yo,
whatever.
Key, I want to ask Key a question. Have you
Shoot.
have you, with your popularity working for the dealership, has anyone at the dealership said anything to you? Have you been called into the principal's office? Like, what's that been like?
we was just talking about that. We was just talking about that before the show.
Yeah.
Nah, so honestly, no, I've never had like I've never been in trouble, but there was this one time where I made a skit or I answered a question. This guy was like, do dealerships take fake pay stubs? And I was like, look, man, I'm not gonna say that there's not gonna be a Chevy dealership that might not take them. And I said, I'm gonna advise you to do it. It's not a smart idea at all. And so somebody sent my owner a message and said, hey, you know, your salesman is promoting fraud out here, and I just want you guys to know that he's promoting fraud in your guys' name, and, you know, we know where you work, and I just think that's a bad look. And then so my owner comes to me, he's like, hey, I want to let you know that this happened. He said, I don't care. You know, I think it's funny. He's like, I love what you do, man. Keep doing what you're doing. I just want to let you know that somebody said this about you.
I know you was like, shut up.
Man, I was just shook though. Like somebody really took their time out of their day to try to call my job and, you know, like harass me essentially for no reason, when all I'm trying to do is give people information on how to, you know, buy cars, how to be in a better buying power situation.
Okay. So talk about at what point you realized that what you were doing was really, really helping people, you know, and like at what point, like, is it a few weeks after you started your TikTok page or like?
Well, so actually when I originally started my TikTok page, it wasn't even about cars. I was telling people where to get the newest Xbox at. And that's kind of how I got a little bit of, you know, I got my first like almost 10,000 kind of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And then after I sat down and realized, I was like, people don't know this information, because I was getting a bunch of questions on my videos. Like I started making skits about just like my original skits were just stuff that's happened to me, you know, things people said to me, the situations that I've had happen. And people were like commenting a bunch of stuff like, oh, wait, what about this? Or like, how do I know about this? And I was like, this just brought to my attention that not a lot of people are educated on this topic. And it came back to, you know, how I originally became a car salesman was I actually, on my first deal, not my first deal, when I bought my first car, I bought it from the dealership that I got hired at. And I bought it. I fell for the $100 ad. The $100 down payment, come in. I fell for the ad. I got in there. They're like, oh, you need 1,000 down. I'm like, oh, okay, well, like, whatever. You know, yeah, exactly. At that point, I'm like, oh, well, I'm already here. I'm gonna buy this car regardless. You know, I was like, I already came for this car. I need a car. I let them know I needed a car today. So I ended up getting like a 20% interest rate with regional acceptance. And I was a first-time buyer. I had good job time, but at the time I didn't know any better. So I got a warranty that I paid like $4,500 for a warranty. I shouldn't have. It cost him like $1,200. What else? Oh, I paid $4,000 over the Kelly Blue Book price on it. So they made $1,000 off the deal on me. The salesman itself made $1,000.
And this is the dealer that you went to work for.
this is the deal I go to work for. So I get hired,
to
right?
make that money back.
So I get hired, and I don't know any of this at the time. I just, I'm just going over my contract. Once I get hired, I learn some stuff. I learn about the business a little bit, and I'm like, hey, can I see my deal? I asked him like, hey, can I see my deal? I look at it and I realize like they got me.
Wow.
They sure the hell did.
They got me, and I was like, if it wasn't for me working at a dealership, I wouldn't have known that.
Never known it.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
So what about you, Deshaun?
No, that's why we're fortunate that we get to do this. Well, wait, I had the Verizon failure again. So what was the question?
Oh yeah, your Windows 95 was acting up. What we said was,
No.
we said, at what point did you notice that
Skip,
you were doing what was really reaching people?
I'm glad you bought that book. I'm gonna need that for my new internet.
hey, listen, I'm gonna say this here: if your internet costs $20, you ain't gonna do no better.
Man, I gotta turn off before we go on the broadcast.
So what was the question?
Plugging shit from the wall. I'm doing all kind of stuff. Devices, turning off TVs. I don't want no interruption. But anyway, this was good stuff. Y'all got any more questions for these legends in the game?
No, I mean we.
That was a lot.
Oh, Key, we were talking about before we came on the air about. I didn't hear it because I was talking to my daughter just now, but about the person that called on you. Did you tell them that story about the person that reported to your boss? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because she came up and I had to get off for a second. But that was odd that he said about what happened, and we were just talking about that same thing.
It's crazy. They honestly, so they call me TikTok.
Yeah, people
they call you TikTok. Well, that's good. Yeah. Go subscribe.
People don't realize. People don't realize that you can actually. Some of the owners and the GMs, the general managers, the general sales managers, they don't realize that when you educate in the market, it makes people want to buy a car from you. Like he gets more business because he's doing what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? When I was with Mercedes, because I wasn't doing, videos when I was with GM because social media wasn't a thing. I left GM 2010, and then I went to Mercedes 2011. So so when I was with Mercedes, speaking financial, literacy, so to speak, within the cars, like these customers appreciated it. What's crazy is I get people who, made ridiculous money, but they really, when I started seeing the mistakes people made, and even these people who was, making money, I'm like, oh, what are you buying these cars for? You buy your cars and you trade them in, or anything. They're buying their leases out, and I'm like, listen, let me show you some numbers and see why. Like, if you do it this way, you get what I'm saying. And they're like, oh yeah, Sean, okay, I appreciate that. But the people who make money, they're typically a lot of them will listen. But I think that needs to trickle down to everybody. Like there, you just paying attention to people like Key, and me. We're the only people in the space right now. Look, there's gonna be more. There's gonna be more in the space, but a lot of dealers don't see it. A lot of dealers don't understand that you should be branding yourself as an honest dealer, as somebody who doesn't have bogus fees, as somebody that's transparent, that wants to, do clean deals and just, do fair deals. Nobody has a problem with a dealer doing a fair deal. But I had somebody 2 weeks ago, and his credit is not great, but it's not bad. And and I was working with him. He said, "D, I'm calling you. I got the finance manager on the phone." And I said, now listen, I'm gonna tell y'all this. He did. You. Some of this stuff be like our own people fault, because when he picked the car, we found a dealership that had 37 banks, and I said, this dealer has 37 banks. Chances are you're gonna get approved. You're 605. So he picked out a car. I made sure I spoke to the finance manager. I said, let me ask you a question. Car's about 14 grand. We should be looking at about what? He's like, well, what can he pay? Like, that's not relevant. It's not relevant. That's why we got to know how to dodge questions that are not relevant. Don't answer questions that aren't relevant. I know every $5,000 about $100 a month. So if this car is 14, we should be looking at, with taxes and fees, somewhere in the threes, 325. You know what I mean? So he's like, yeah, you're right. But if we wouldn't have had no number, he would have definitely tried to take a shot. But the point is, he came back, told him he's approved. He ends up saying, oh, the car's too small. All right, listen, man, now you're making me upset, because you got to realize dealers, the good dealers, don't deserve to be jacked over. If somebody's doing right by you, they working hard to get a deal done, like, you know, they don't need to be like, I got high respect for good dealers. We are aligned. Just like I'm sure
Yeah.
he gets good salesmen that's like, yo, I love what you're doing. We have a common enemy. It's the scammers. They don't like
Yeah.
either one of us, the good dealers or us. So when we look and say, all right, boom, let's try another car. He finds this other car. I get on the phone with the finance manager. Now the car is 15 grand. He's like, best I could do is he got to come up with $900, and I got him at 475. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. All right, unless you is this a 4-year loan? Maybe you shorten the loan. You're gonna tell me no, it's a 5-year loan. Okay, how are we at 475? Well, you know, the car's 17. I said, wait a minute, car's 17. It's online for 15. Well, you know, with some of the with the bank that we use, it has to be 17, and then I got to do a $1,300 warranty, and he needs gap insurance. I got to have gap insurance. I said, well, we could do this. It was so rigid. They were not willing to budge on anything. This is where you don't want to be. He took that step on his own. You got to realize this. Buying a car with bad credit should be a finance issue only, which means you pay more interest. You might pay a bank fee. That's it. You know, it's a finance issue. Dealers take bad credit and they use it as an opportunity to overcharge you for everything. The car, you don't even get the same price that someone with good credit would get on the car, which is crazy. So when you're shopping from home, you can avoid a lot of this. You don't get a chance to be prejudged. If you're a woman, if you're black, if you're a minority, you don't get a chance to be prejudged if you're at home, you know? So, you know, it's just take the time, learn what we're teaching. You're not going to get it all in one shot, but, you know, if you just continue to follow us and follow what we're teaching, it's going to eventually start clicking one thing at a time. It'll start clicking for you.
Okay, so another question. With the chip shortage and with the market and the bubble and all this other stuff, my question is, do dealers sell cars and then shortly thereafter blow up the deal to now make that brand new car used to increase the value? Does that question make sense? They sell a brand new car.
Yeah.
Sell it to Hulk. Hulk leaves. Somehow they blow the deal up on purpose. So Hulk
when you
now
say blow it up, what do you mean?
So you mean like unwind it? The unwind it. There's no longer a valid deal. I don't believe
now
so.
Hulk has to give the car back. He has to give the car back, and now that car is now a used car.
And I haven't seen that either.
I've never heard that happen. The only thing I've ever heard about someone like a deal unwinding is if like you don't get stitched or, you know, something doesn't check out, and then, you know, they have to give the car back because of whatever they said doesn't check out anymore. But I've never seen a dealership purposely unwind the deal, because it's going to be a lot more work for them to restock in the car and to do all that than it is for them just to sell it at whatever it is.
Okay.
There are dealers out there that are not paying off people's trades. So you got to be careful if you're trading in your car. You like call your bank, make sure they actually paid off the trade. I've seen like a couple stories in the last couple months of cars that, you know, dealers took in, and then they you know, it's some scammers out there. It's people that's floating inventory. The car business is an unregulated wild west. You know what I'm saying? So
talk to you about your car.
So it's, you know, everything you should verify.
Wow. So how is it that a business? I don't know if it's a Honda or a Toyota or a GMC dealership that's doing it, but how could they get away with that by not paying off the loan?
It'd probably be a smaller dealership.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know of any bigger dealerships that do it, but I mean, if I would think it'd be a smaller, like maybe pot lot that would try to do something like that. But I mean, I don't think, in my opinion,
buy from those places.
Huh?
Our people buy from those places. How many
Yes,
people
they
came
do.
in the dealership with a okay, they come in, they look at a Benz. The Benz from an authorized dealer is, you know, 34,000, and they like, oh well, that's, you know, that's above my budget. And they go to Joe's used car lot on the corner and they get a Benz for 24,000. I had somebody send me 5 cars. I want a Benz. They was all 12 grand and under, and she said, you know, which one of these are the best? I'm like, none of them. You know what I mean? Like,
The
there's none
title,
of them that's good. There's no.
5 accidents.
Yeah, like, what are we doing here? Like, you know, like, there are plenty of used. 45 million used cars sold a year compared to 17 million new. So there's plenty of people buying from used car dealers, and you know, and you just got to be careful. You got to be careful, learn, slow down. I had somebody tell me on my live show the other day, man, everything I learned from you, man, you make me scared to buy a car. I said, that's great. That's great. Because
That
you
means you
should
slow
be.
down.
You're about to spend $30,000 or 20,000 or 10 or
Right.
40.
You should talk
Like,
to somebody.
you just want to spend that on a whim. If I
Yeah.
called any one of y'all right now and we had a $10,000 conversation, you gonna be all right, dude. We gotta get lawyers involved. Let me call my lawyer. All right, we're
Right.
talking 10 grand. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
we, you know,
Yeah.
like, we need to slow down. We really need to slow down.
All right. So let me ask y'all this: when it comes to electric cars are the future. So, does it benefit you to get into the electric game now? Is it more incentives as far as the deals are structured when it comes to electric, or everything is just equal?
That tax credit definitely benefits you when you buy
Okay.
electric brand new.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as far as do
There's
you have to transfer now,
benefits
I
there
don't
for
say
sure.
you have to do it now, but I mean, you definitely get a lot of benefits from it, and it's something that you like you said, it is moving on along to that wave that's going to be all electric, but I don't think it's something that you have to necessarily make the move now. You know, we still got at least 5-6 years of gas vehicles.
Got
I'm gonna be honest.
Mm-hmm.
What the stuff I
Yeah,
just
you should.
learned today,
You
I
should
want to go to the dealership
start.
just to play. I do. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, no, screw it. Yeah, I want to go to I want to go to Landmark just to go play,
Hey,
just to test out some of this stuff.
I just went and bought a new car. I just bought a G70, and I got to play around with it when I was at the dealerships too. It was fun. I'm not gonna lie. Just
Yeah,
seeing what people say, just seeing what how they react. Because I didn't tell them at first
Mm-hmm.
that I was a salesman or anything. I just kind of see what they had to say, see what they offered, and then when I tell them, it's like, oh, hold on, 1 minute. Then they got to go back to the office, calculate everything,
It's funny.
restructure everything. Yeah, it's funny. It's really funny to see.
Wow. Y'all got
It's
buying
funny.
power.
But you'll hear people make stuff up. Like, I'll get to I get to either shopping for myself or for a client when I was doing consulting. And some of the stuff I hear people call, like, I'll be talking to somebody and they're like, you know, like, I'm getting quotes online. They're like, well, our policy is we can't quote a person unless we see them. Okay, that might be your policy. But
What?
you
Wait
know,
a minute.
I'm
What?
getting another quote elsewhere, and they're not telling me that. And so we have a thing where, like, they'll literally make something up, and you can tell. Like, I can't even, because my mind can't think like that. Like, some of the stuff I hear, it's like, yo, were you trained to say this, or did you just make this up? Because it sounds
They
like you
probably
just
did.
made it up while we were talking. You know, so you can hear when somebody's BSing you, especially when you know you're shopping around and you're not in the dealership and you're not emotional. You can hear the BS, and you're in control. How are you not in control when you shopping from your living room? You know, you in your house.
but with the trained ear, you can catch the bullshit. But the untrained ear, you can't, because some of us fall for that. Well, I can't tell you how much I can't tell you how much the car is until I run your credit. I've been with several people that said, I
If
can't
I'm
tell
in
you how
your
much
house,
the
I'm
car.
gonna believe
I'm
everything
saying,
you say. If I
yeah.
come to your house right now, Hawk, anything you say, I'm gonna believe you. Yo, man, I got a basement downstairs. I got 2 rabbits. Yo, word. I'm coming out your house. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my
Yep.
goodness,
That's
Your
man.
real.
house. You know,
Wow.
Wow.
that's how it is when you're in the dealer. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? If I'm talking to you on the phone, you like, yo, I got a basement. I got 2 rabbits. rabbits
Like,
downstairs.
nah,
I'm like,
I might need to see those rabbits.
all right. Right.
Oh yeah,
You
I'm
know?
going on my next one because I gotta get my spouse a car. On my next one, I'm doing my research from beginning to end. So when the time comes, you won't be getting it. You won't get me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is educational.
I'm coming out with the cars from home sheet, the worksheets, and they're gonna be companions to the book. And because things like when I was doing the consultant, I had a $99 package, and I would design a roadmap for everybody. So it would be, if I was in your position and I wanted to get this car and I had a trade or didn't have a trade, this is what I would do. It's a roadmap, and people pay $99 because they knew if they had that plan, it was my plan. They just go execute it. So I'm not doing that anymore. I'm taking that same thing that was $99 that people paid for, and I'm gonna turn it into these workbook. Into a small workbook, and I'm gonna add to it. You're gonna have an equity assessment sheet, so you'll know. All right, this is what my car is worth. This is who I call. This is the sites I go on. Fill in. All right, this is our equity, or this is our negative equity. And it's gonna be kind of a step by step, so that you can't make a mistake. You use that. You use the book. It'll be just like you got a straight pro with you, shopping with you. And if you shopping from home, there's no way to lose. So those will be out in the next 30 days. I'm gonna put those out, and and I y'all have me on the show. I appreciate it. I'll throw those to y'all complimentary, especially because y'all bought the book. I mean, I
Thank you.
Okay,
appreciate
yeah.
Yeah.
Real quick. On your website, it only has the digital version. I hate reading on my phone, man. I'm old school. I have to have a book. Is there somewhere I can go buy the actual
That's a
book?
PDF. You
I don't want to read on the laptop. I like
listen.
reading
No,
a
you
book.
can download it. You can print it out.
Listen. Hold on. You even to burn my
download
ink
it.
up
You
for
can put it
$20. I want a book.
I'm gonna be quiet.
I'm just playing.
Hold on.
Okay,
All
I'll
right,
get the
listen.
PDF.
Sometime in the fall, we're gonna record an audio book, and it'll be an audio book with live Q&A. So I'm gonna do it on Spotify Green Room, which is a platform
You
we
already
use to
bought it,
record
Skip.
it.
It don't matter, right?
It's a platform we use
No, I
to
didn't.
record it.
Oh.
Right?
No. But hold on. The reason I didn't click
Listen,
on it because I was on the digital version,
it'll be an
my question
audio.
was right. Okay, cool. No problem.
I can do the audio when I'm in my car.
There's no hardcover.
Okay, cool. See, question answered. Now I'll buy
It's no
the digital
hardcover
version.
because it's quicker to put out a digital. We got to get 1 million of those out. 100 million.
Damn.
And then the audio,
You know, let me borrow my $20 back.
the audio version is gonna be great because I can listen to it in the car as I'm
Man,
headed
nobody care about your little ugly car.
as I headed to the dealership playing it. Okay.
All right. We're gonna do it like
Well,
this.
according to he said, he said you can't do that.
All right, we're gonna pass it to Key. Final words, brother.
Oh, hey y'all,
Right.
listen.
We
Yeah,
passed it.
because I'm on 2%. I'm on
Oh,
2%.
it's
I don't want to lose
me?
y'all. It's set. It won't
I
be. It
didn't
won't
even
be
know
Windows
that.
95
5%.
on 2%. Hurry up, Key.
Hey, I appreciate everybody for tapping in with the podcast. Everybody go follow Life with Key on TikTok to make sure you guys, never get scammed. Make sure you guys are on your phone and learn how to get as much buying power as you can.
Thank you, brother. All right, Deshaun. Final words before you go to 1%.
I lose your internet connection.
Oh Lord. All right.
There you
All
go.
right.
No.
Oh, there he is. Wait a minute.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can still hear you.
we hear you.
Can y'all?
You froze though.
How about now?
You should have just got $19.99 to your account. So pay your bill real quick. Yeah, I just bought the book, so go. You pay your bill.
Y'all got no idea. I was planning. Hold on. I'm gonna tell y'all something. I'm gonna tell you how crazy everything went today. I've been building a studio that we're gonna be from.
Yeah, because you got a podcast coming out, don't you?
I thought I was gonna be, but when I actually, but the energy is cool.
Oh Lord, that is. Y'all hear this?
Yeah, it's called the Green Light. And 3 weeks. It'll be on YouTube because
All
we're doing a video podcast. So we want to blanket the market with information. TikTok, Instagram, and the podcast. But I thought I was going to be in there, but then our power source wasn't enough to support the air conditioning. So that's why I ended up having to be in here, and I'm dealing with all these other issues because I never streamed. I don't know if I'm overwhelming, but like I said, I got the top package.
Your shit's so bad, you not key off.
This is a test. This is Verizon.
I don't know what happened.
Straight on Verizon under the bus. I pay them good money.
You don't pay them that good.
money.
Hold on. Hey, hold on. What's your interest rate? 26%?
Oh no!
Oh my goodness.
All right, with that being said, we're gonna close this thing out. Hey man, we appreciate y'all showing up. Anybody that's watching this video, please like it, subscribe. Everybody has all of these platforms. Let's share this information with everybody. Key has a YouTube channel. Go follow his page. All the links are in their bios. Follow him on TikTok, on Instagram. Subscribe to our page, like our page, share our page. We do this every Friday.
Follow me on TikTok.
Yes, and then we do this show every Friday at 9 o'clock. Tune in. We do it for the culture. Anything that's related to cars. His 2% just died. Damn. Let me give him some. Give him some. Oh, little ching. Anyway, yeah, so y'all, we're gonna get out of here, man. Key, we appreciate you. We're gonna ride this out. We always play our music. We're gonna talk about music at the end. Until next time, I'm Mr. That's Hope, that's Skip, that's Key. We out. We see you next week. Yeah, good show, y'all. Yeah.
So we're not gonna run the 2 hours out?
Nope.
Hey, man, cause T ain't here. You don't get to change stuff, man. You see, that's what's wrong right there. We're gonna. I hope T are listening. We ain't having this next week, Miss TJ.
Oh, she'll be back. She ain't gonna let that happen.
She ain't gonna let that happen. She just landed though.
I don't care. They ain't got nothing to do with nothing. If you going, you finna go get her?
No, I couldn't because we have.
Okay, then. Well, I want my 15 minutes.
No, it's 11 minutes now. 11 minutes.
No, Miss TJ is flying back home. Help out my dick. She's flying back to the A.
We see y'all next week, 9 o'clock sharp Eastern time. We got folks from Washington. We have folks from Jersey all over and in the Metro Atlanta area. So yeah, with that being said, we out. Let y'all. We out.